Have y'all seen this documentary yet about the dance cult? This is wild. Naturally, I was like, I wonder what Miranda has going on in her chart that could cause such an easy just influence of her energy and her action. And y'all, this is crazy. We're gonna look at her astrology chart too, but just pulling up her human design chart and seeing how open it is. These are energy centers in your body. Your human design chart literally represents your energy and the different energy centers throughout your physical body. And the ones that you have white, that are open or undefined, are where you are most susceptible to taking on energy from others and being influenced or conditioned by the people around you. Like, she has 6 out of her 9 centers open. She is very easily influenced by other people, especially when it comes to her mindset, her beliefs, her thoughts, how she communicates, her sense of direction, her identity, her intuition, her intuitive instincts. These are all places where she is very susceptible to conditioning, being influenced by others. And one of the most major ones that can really have a chokehold on someone is the undefined spleen center right here. This one, this little triangle I'm pointing at. This center rules fear. I know other people that have been in cults and their charts look very similar to this because these people are very easily influenced and conditioned, like I said. And this center right here literally rules your innate instincts. So if you can rule someone through fear, this is where that shows up and how it shows up in a chart. And this is one of the biggest factors we see when it comes to influencing or controlling others, is using fear to do it. And people with this in their chart are really susceptible to it. Not only that, but she is an emotional authority that seeks community. She has the 4037 channel, the channel of community. She's probably struggled with feeling alone in her life and feeling like she doesn't belong, especially when it comes to her spiritual connection and her creative pursuits. So she found a cult that literally feeds that in her and harbors that sense of community. She's a pretty strong emotional authority too. This is like all the energy she has in her chart is emotional. That's what these channels are right here. If someone has this center defined, this triangle right here, that's the emotional center. It's going to be their authority. And the channels that make this your authority are really going to rule over your chart. And she has 3 of them. This is the emotional wave. High highs and low lows. She has a lot of them consistently and constantly. But this is also what creates such a spiritual person in her and a great connection to creativity. And a freaking amazing dancer. I mean, no one's denying that, but like, method's a little mad. Anyways, another thing I noticed in her chart initially, because in the first episode they talk about her birthday and I was like, oh, February 24th, she's a Pisces. Of course she ghosted her whole family for a religious cult. Like, it's very Pisces. But not only that, her sun in Pisces is in this channel of community that I spoke to. She really needs to feel a deep sense of belonging. And as we'll see in her astrology chart, her sun in Pisces is in an exact, almost, square with her Pluto in Sagittarius, which her Pluto is in gate 34, the gate of power. Now, she doesn't have this defined in her own chart, so she will look to outside influences for this energy. Pluto in Sag, squaring her sun in Pisces. This is a very intense transit to have in your natal chart because it creates conflict with who you are, who you're here to grow into and be, and the energy you're here to transform. Pluto is also the planet of control and power. Sagittarius is a deeply religious sign and spiritual, so is Pisces. So to me, it only makes sense that a spiritual religious organization she becomes a part of controls her sense of expression and who she's here to grow into. She has a lot of Aquarius too, so like the coldness, the aloofness, I mean, it's no surprise to me. Now, I don't know if this is her rising sign because I don't know her time of birth, so we just have to look at her planets and what's going on with those, not what houses they're in, so ignore the houses. Another interesting thing about her Pluto is that it also is in a harmonious aspect with her Saturn and Aries. This can create a really disciplined person, but it can also make one susceptible to control from others, especially those who paint themselves as authority figures, religious leaders, and her Mars is in Libra, so it's no question that she has struggled with people-pleasing and doing things for the sake of keeping the peace and the harmony, despite her own needs, her own wants and desires, and put authority figures above herself. I find it very interesting too that her South Node is in Pisces, so she was probably a religious leader or in a religious cult again in a past life, and she's here to grow out of that, but time will tell. I'm not finished with the documentary yet, so we'll see. What are you guys' thoughts? Do you share any placements? Do you know anyone that's been in a cult? Because I do, and they have very similar placements to this. I'm just saying.